Okay, so let me describe you one of the most important indicators from my suite, which is the semaPHorek indicator. I was asked how to use the indicator. What is it actually good for? I have to say that semaPHorek is not a strategy. It is a tool for systematical and consistent analyzing of the footprints, which serve as trigger. So you need to have a strategy and use semaPHorek only just as trigger that confirms your goals. When you are going to go long, then you wait for the trigger confirming that this is a good opportunity to open the long position. When you are going to trade the downtrend, then you wait, obviously, for the confirmation that particular candle is good for entry. There are certain things worth mentioning. I'm currently at the chart which I was using before semaPHorek and which make me think about the conditions which I observe and actually which I was using for opening the trades. This is currently the S&P 500 and Renko 8. The instrument is usually obvious. You need to use the main instrument. What I need with main instrument, this means mini S&P 500, mini gold, mini crude oil. However, there's one exception and it's NASDAQ. With NASDAQ, I strongly recommend using micro NASDAQ instead, because this is probably the only instrument where is being handled more contracts on the micro version compared to the, I say, full, which is mini version. But NASDAQ is the only instrument where I recommend using semaPHorek at the micro instrument, means MNQ. Same for footprints. I recommend using footprints at MNQ, but it's the only instrument. Otherwise, I highly encourage you using order flow at ES, NQ, GC, CL, YM, RTY, and so on and so on. Now, trading these days is not easy because the markets are either very volatile or actually very neutral. I mean, without any direction. How you can recognize it? It's actually quite simple. You see that the VWAP, this is the indicator I have in my chart, has very flat central line, which is this one. This is the POC of VWAP. And as you can see, there's no steepness at the POC of VWAP. Also, this is the value area of POC. As you can see, it's quite narrow. You know, the difference between the POC, which is in the middle, and DVAH1, which is here, or DVAL1, which is here, is really narrow. Usually, and this is 15:36. I'm in the Berlin time zone, Central European Summer Time. And usually after opening, which was here, 15:30, you have a huge movement, either up or down. But as you can see, the exchange opened and there was a movement from 6,630 to, let's say, to this point. We were at 6,617, which are 13 points only. 13 points, which is nothing. You can compare with other days. So trading these days is special and not easy. We have to switch between strategies with neutral days. There are certain days which I don't trade at all because of the lack of the liquidity, uninterest in trading on both sides, both shorters, both buyers and both sellers. However, you can use semaPHorek for trading this as soon as the width of the value area at the VWAP gets wider. As mentioned, I was using this template before, which was telling me interesting things about the market. What I was traded, or what I was paying attention, was obviously volume, delta, and so on, but most of all, absorptions. Absorptions, in a nutshell, I can talk half an hour or even longer about it. Absorptions mean that there are high positive delta values at the upper part of the candle and low negative values of delta at the bottom of the candle, which means these are absorptions. And I'm waiting for reversals. This is a reversal, obviously. The price went up and then there was a reversal and price went down. And then there are certain things I pay attention to. I pay attention to volume, which is above 1000 in this case. I pay attention to delta. It must be negative and it should be high actually. Then I pay attention where the POC of the candle was and where the candle closed compared to the POC. Ideally, I want to see POC in the candle wick. Not here in the candle body, but in the candle wick, which is a sign that there was some kind of fight between the buyers and sellers. The buyers were trapped here, and this trap is the thing I've been waiting for. So I need to obviously find the ideal value for the absorptions, which can be, for example, 20 or higher. We have 20 here, 22 here, and so on and so on. I'm not interested in a negative delta here, because this is trap. This is trap because 58 contracts were traded on the right side of the footprint at the ask side, and 38 contracts were traded at the bid side, which means the right side was more active, and right side is either aggressive buyers or passive sellers. And passive sellers is something we want to see. Passive sellers wait. They wait until the price hit a certain level and they absorb the movement. They usually initiate this movement up because they want to persuade the market that the current development, current state of the market is an uptrend, is a strong uptrend, and then they absorb the orders because retail traders usually use market traders to open the position. In this case, market buy. They want to join the trend. They are convinced that the uptrend will continue, so they buy with market buy orders, and the smart money, so to say, institutions use the limit orders. They initiate the uptrend and then they wait and they absorb the buyers. This way, they can either close their long positions or open the short positions. So this was basically the chart I was using, and I was also paying attention to the other phenomenons, or how to say that? I don't want to say indicators. Indicator, in a way, it shows something, but not indicator as here we have indicators in ATAS. So main patterns, let's say. Yes, so I was talking about the absorptions, about the amount, about the number of absorptions. There are two absorptions higher than 20 at this particular candle. This particular candle has a volume of 1055. Here is below 400, below 400, there is 800, 300, there is 3000. So this is a huge number. But this is inside a trend. I'm interested in a reversal This is where smart money. Why am I so interested in reversals? Because these are the situations, moment, places, areas, regions where smart money buy their positions. Smart money don't chase the trend. They open positions here in this area. This is value area of the candle. Look at that. I was using grayish rectangles, which are not that visible, maybe for you, but this was good for reading the situation at the candle. And as you can see, this was the area of the candle, of the Renko candle, where 70% of the volume happened in the wick. The candle opened here. This is the opening of the candle, and the candle closed here. And this is the wick of the candle. And all deceptions, so to say, to the market participants, to the retail traders, happened in the wick. We have a VPOC of the candle here. We have 1 and 2 absorptions. The value area of the candle is in the wick, not in the body. The body was already the continuation. Then there's the negative delta. Then there's a high volume. High volume means fight. Fight between parties, between the buyers and sellers. And fight means absorption, for instance. Absorption is a fight because somebody was going to go higher and somebody refused them to go. Somebody absorbed them. So that is the idea of absorption. Then we have imbalances. I want to see imbalances. I want to see that somebody actually was going to initiate the trend and join the new trend. New trend, that is where I open position. I'm not interested in opening here or here or here because that's already trend. And in trend, anything can happen. A pullback, I don't know, to this VPOC, to this VPOC, to this VPOC, which was untested. This is the area, this is the level where the fight happened. And trend likes to visit the area and move downwards to get fuel here, so to say. So these are the things where I was looking for. I see also finished business, 0 times something at the top of the candle and something times 0, like here, at the bottom of the candle. But again, semaPHorek is intelligent so that it actually pays attention to the top of the candle when the candle is negative, in this case red, and bottom of the candle only if the candle is positive. This was negative, it's a red candle, so semaPHorek doesn't pay any attention to this 1 times 0. He's interested at the top of the candle, at the top of the candle. And here we have 0 times 15. So there was the end of the trend. Nobody was going to join it. There are zeros at the left side of the footprint because the smart money wasn't buying any tiny pullbacks to join the uptrend. No, they just purchased 15 short positions here, 15 contracts, or they closed 15 contracts at this level, nothing else. And as you can see, the situation is quite comprehensive because I use Renko candles for the trigger, for the entry confirmation, because they show me what I'm going to see better way, because they are able to filter out the rotations. One Renko candle can last or take, let's say, 2 minutes to buy or 1 second. And you see that it's 15:30, 15:30, 15:30, 15:30. It's still the 1 minute. We have the first 15:30 here, and we have the first 15:31 here. So we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles within a minute. Now, I don't know how long have I been talking. Almost 15 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes out of these 15 minutes, I was describing the methodology. If I don't have to talk, but just recognize these patterns and these patterns I use for entry, I can reduce it from 10 minutes to how much? 1 minute when I do it consistently, and thoroughly 1 minute. But in 1 minute, I have, how much did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 candles. I have 9 candles in 1 minute. I don't have 1 minute to judge the situation. When I start analyzing this candle and I spend, okay, if I'm fast and I spend 30 seconds on paying attention to all 9 conditions, then the market is already here and I'm not in the position. So this was my idea at the very beginning when I started developing semaPHorek, because I was going to make the decisions faster, not paying any attention to delta, volume, and so on and so on. I was going to enter the positions faster. So I developed semaPHorek. This is the identical chart. This is the same situation. You see the narrow value area of a VWAP. It's the same day. And you see only candles and numbers. Actually, there are also, there's this color strip below the number, which tells me which conditions in particular were met. Whether there are absorptions, high relative volume, high absolute volume, high delta, position of the VPOC. I even pay attention, I didn't mention that, I even pay attention to tape. I'm interested if here, for example, this is just an example, I don't know, there are 51 contracts traded at the right side of the footprint and 31 on the left side. I want to know if there was perhaps a market participant who traded at least 30 contracts in one trade. Why? There are not many retail traders trading these high numbers of the contracts. We usually open, I don't know, 5 micros at NASDAQ, or this is actually S&P 500. This is S&P 500. I don't know any retail trader opening 30 S&P mini contracts in one order, within one order. But the big fish, they do. They open 30 contracts, 100 contracts, even 200 contracts within one order. The point is, you can obviously use either depth of market indicator, heat map, and so on and so on. You see the waiting limit orders at the chart. This is the ATAS heat map. But there are things to know. There are things to be aware of. I do see here a huge order. I see, well, it's 13, 15, so there are just 6 waiting limit orders here. It's nothing. These numbers are very low. Oh, I meant NASDAQ, sorry. I should have switched to S&P because these numbers are too low. This is the current price, and you see that there are, let's say, 30 waiting limit orders, 46 limit orders, there are 84, there are 223 waiting limit orders. I can use the MBODOM indicator, which tells me the structure of the queue, of the waiting limit orders, that there is somebody who placed, let's say, 100 orders, 100 contracts within one order. It's a huge fish, obviously. Sitting, by the way, no, I thought it's a rounded number, but it's not. So this is also important to pay attention to. The big market participants who actually, they reveal the activity, the purpose, the goals of the big fish. But with heat map, there's a situation, there's the spoofing of the heat map. This is a very normal term, very normal thing happening at the heat map. And they can obviously hide the orders, use so-called iceberg orders. That's why I stuck to order flow, because order flow shows me what happened in the past. in the nearest past, or let's say on, I don't know, January the 3rd, 2026. Those numbers stay. They will never change. This is what happened. And this is my trading style, my trading approach. I want to see, that's why I use Renko, because it's quite a fast candle. I want to see what happened recently, but really happened. Among those 133 orders on the left side of the footprint, there are waiting limit orders which were visible at the depth of market indicator or at the heat map, as well as iceberg orders, hidden orders. I don't know what to think about iceberg orders. It's a great indicator. It's an amazing approach, but I simply don't use it because I use a different approach. That's it. However, semaPHorek tells me also if there were huge market participants. When I hover the mouse above any candle at the chart with semaPHorek, I see the details of the candle. So it's not really ultra simplified. I see the details. I can see the details. For example, let's say this candle 8, which means 8 conditions of my 9 conditions were met here, were true. And when I press the shift key, I see the details. All of a sudden, my absorptions filter threshold is set to 50. It's the first position, absorptions. And as you can see, there are minus 321, which means there's a level at the candle. I could zoom in and show you. Where's the delta minus 321? Not 50, which I require for considering the candle being the absorption candle, but 50. Then I have the second position, absorption count. How many absorptions are there at the candle? I want to see at least 2 levels with the delta of either higher than 50 for the negative candle or below minus 50 for the positive candle. semaPHorek filters that. It takes the absolute value. To consider the candle as absorption candle with multiple levels. Then I use the power bar, which is the third condition, which uses the relative volume. Then I use the fourth filter for the absolute volume. I want to see the Renko with the volume at least 2,500 contracts. This candle was 3,111. Then I want to see a delta at the candle higher than 200 or lower than minus 200. This candle has minus 129, so this is the light that candle lost, so to say, because there are just 129, which is not outside the range minus 200 to plus 200, if you know what I mean. Then I want to see a finished business, which is the lonely 0, because this is a positive candle, at the bottom, at the very, very bottom of the candle. There's a 0. Then we have imbalance. I want to see imbalances. I want to see green numbers on the right side of the footprint, which tells me there was an acceleration. You see the idea? The market moved up a little, created this pullback, pretending that it's going to go lower, but this candle stopped the movement. This is the deception point. I want to see deceptions. I want to see the fights. Either the big market participants, because they do it, they push the price. For example, here they pretend they took out the liquidity of this swing. You see that, just the wick. And then the market is pretending that it's going down, but not. We have a break candle, we have an absorption candle with a huge volume, which is the fight, and with other patterns, other numbers. I don't want to use the indicators word. Then we have 8, smart tape. You see, this is what I was talking a while ago. I want to see market participant, at least one, who traded at least 100 contracts. Imagine that, 100 contracts of S&P 500. Not micro S&P, but full, so to say, mini S&P. 100 contracts. It's a big fish, obviously. It's one of the biggest fish which is able to open a position of 100 contracts. Now, why do they do it? Because they could have initiated the break here, the stop here, the false intention to going down, because this candle, this sixth candle, has a red stripe on it. You probably don't see it. I do. You see that red stripe, which means this candle has also more than 100 contracts handled from one market participant. So the idea is, actually, I can imagine he stopped here, the big fish stopped here, it sold the swing here, then market participants analyzed this in a wrong way, that they thought that this was the stop of the movement up, but the big fish purchased the 100 contracts back here, even 147. So they could have had even bigger position. They sold or closed or whatever 100 contracts here and repurchased and added to the position here. These are the deceptions. These are the signs I want to see, because this tells me that the big fish, that the institutions were active. semaPHorek reveals the steps of the institutional traders. That's the purpose of semaPHorek. But it's not a strategy. I need to read the context. I need to see what's happening at the chart. The VWAP is flat. Okay, this candle tells me that it's a good entry candle, but I would not have opened the position here because the market is flat. It's we are at, well, okay, I moved back. We are at 15:14, so 16 minutes prior to opening the US session. US session opened here. This is the opening of the US session. See, it's here, 15:30. It's this candle. And this candle, the next candle, it's the same second, 15:30:00. This one, 15:30:01. We have 3 candles in 1 second. It's impossible to analyze 9 parameters within 1/3 of a second, is it? So what I do is I read the context of the market. I use my strategies. In this case, with the flat VWAP, you can use entries at the DVAL1 and targeting the VWAP, the middle line. Or, for example here, look at that. Look at that, what happened. I will show you. They broke the DVAL1. This is DVAL1 of the VWAP. They broke it. They pulled back, created this low. Actually, I could have opened a long position here. I could have. But now I use another thing. I read the structure. I came up with an idea of GURT in German, during German webinars. I came up with the word GURT, which is the belt, so that it's easy to remember the word. And I think I still have GURT here. I have GURT here. This is the GURT. This is the trader without GURT, and this is the trader with GURT. It's a metaphor, you know. I was going to catch the attraction, you know. Without GURT, it's not good. It's not good without GURT, and with GURT, you're a knight. You're a hero of the fight. But my intention was to make users remember the word GURT. GURT. G represents Grund, which is in German reason. I need to have a reason to open a position. U means Umkehr, which is reversal. I want to see reversal to open the position. R, it was a little bit tricky, represents structure. It's a shift in the structure, or I use the structure as my assistant structure. And T is trigger. This is semaPHorek. and this is actually very important. I'm going to, by the way, create a video for English users as well and come up with a word suitable for English, not German GURT with Grund, Umkehr, Struktur and Trigger, but I will use something else. But trigger is semaPHorek. semaPHorek is at the end of the entire pyramid, of the entire cascade. It's not possible to use just semaPHorek for opening trades. You need to read the market. You need at least go back one step and respect the structure. What was happening here? We had this low. I need to clean this a little. Clean these drawings. And I will explain you what does structure mean. It's a very simple thing from smart money concept. We have this high. You know, we're talking in smart money concept about break of structure and change of character. What I am saying, I made this easier. I pay attention to the highs of the movements and to the lows of the movements. To the movement. What remained untouched at the chart? Were there highs, like so, or were there lows? Highs. Highs remained untouched. Lows broke through, you know. So I cannot simply open the position here because I have a semaPHorek here, because I'm trading against the trend, against the structure. I need to see the sign. And this is where I came up with the idea of two counter trend candles and then semaPHorek. I will explain it here at this case. Nevertheless, we broke this low and the market pulled to the level from below. So the level got flipped, you know. Then we broke this low again. So, and this high remained actually. So, in fact, this is my entry candle. This is my semaPHorek candle. And here I am going to open the short position. Here I am going to open the short position. Because there was two green candles as the counter trend candles, which saves me from getting trapped in rotation. If I waited, that was on the left, if I waited just for one candle and I entered after one candle, then there is a risk of rotation. I don't want to open trades in rotation. I want a nice, this is a rotation, see that? There was the one counter trend candle. If there was even semaPHorek 9 candle, this red one, I wouldn't have opened short position here because it's too dangerous. Because this can happen. Green candle immediately. And after this green candle, movement up to basically betray the shorters. I want to see at least two candles in the opposite direction prior to opening the trade at semaPHorek. And this semaPHorek candle must appear immediately after those two counter trend candles. So, for example, I'm looking at the chart. Here, for example, you see that? There was indeed at least two green candles. And there is indeed a candle with semaPHorek 7, which is nice. It has even a red strip, red color at the strip. Is it my entry candle? No. No, because no big fish opens a position here. No big fish. You cannot think that they sit at Wall Street and say, oh, this is the third red candle. Let's open short position here. They don't do it. If they open position, and I showed you, if they open position, then they open the position here at this candle. During this situation, I can go into deep detail what happened there, but I don't want to boil your brain. You know, it's not important. The purpose of semaPHorek was that even the trader who has a slight sense about order flow, footprints, I don't know, and so on, uses that. It's like driving a car. You don't need to know how the engine works. What's happening in your AC? You just want to use your wheel and press step the throttle and move forward. You don't pay attention about the cylinders, about the injection system, about all the stuff. You just want to go. You just want to drive. And that is the purpose of semaPHorek. You don't use this. You use this. You don't zoom into the footprints, either don't see the numbers or see the numbers or analyze, oh, there is 66 positive delta at the high of this candle. You see, I spoke about the absorptions. And I set the absorption, what was the absorption? When I press the shift to 50. I want to see delta at least plus 50 to understand it as an absorption. And it's here. It's this particular level. Gosh. It's this one. There is 51. So at this level, my first condition represented by this magenta color, these are absorptions. And it's okay. It's the first light. Each light of the semaPHorek represents one condition. So you don't have to sit here and saying, oh, here we have 51, that's absorption. Okay, Pavel said he wants to see at least 2 deltas above 50 in the candle wick. There are 21, 2, something, 38, 50, 45. It's close, but it's not. Then we have -5, -2, -21. He said he's not interested in negative delta, -8, -10, +12. That's just this absorption above 50, and that's just 1. So we don't have the second condition met. How long did it take? 1 minute. Did it? Didn't it? And look at that, where the market is in 1 minute. Instead of opening the position here, you are here. What are you going to do here? Opening something? Why? A pullback comes. Where would you place your stop loss? If you open here, you need to place your stop loss here. I'm already here in your position. I'm already +1 air here. See that? And I would have opened a position here. I would, indeed. Because look at that, what happened. It's a great example what was happening at the chart. Because there was the structure, there was the development of the structure. They broke the lows. They were breaking the lows, see that? And they remained highs untouched. Oh, okay, they can obviously go to the level. They can even took out the liquidity. That's normal with a wick. That's usual. That's common. But still, these highs remained intact. These highs remain intact. See that? Highs are intact. So this is my entry candle. And why? Because there are 1 green, second green. It's the first, it's the trigger. Okay, I will go chronologically. My thinking. First of all, VWAP. VWAP is flat. So I'm trading based on VWAP. This is the DVAL1 of VWAP. This is the DVAL2. And there's somewhere up there DVAH1 and DVAH2. But this candle broke below DVAL1, created a new low, which means broke this. This is the change of character. This is the break of structure. You see, I don't use break of structure or change of character and all these terms. They are fine, but I don't want to sit in front of the chart and thinking, oh, was it change of character or break of structure? I don't care. I pay attention to the highs and to the lows. Are lows broken through or are highs broken through? Which direction prevails? That tells me they are in the downtrend because lows were being broken and highs remained untouched. Then we are at the DVAL. Look at that. This is a very typical setup. This is already a setup. GURT. They pulled back to the DVAL. See that? Created 1, 2 green candles. So there was no rotation. There was something like, but they created 1, 2 green candles. That's fine. And right after this green candle, they printed semaPHorek 6 candle. Anything above 6 is okay for me. I will use it. 6 slides is okay. 5 is not enough for me. I want to see 6, 7, 8, or 9. And basically, for me, there's no difference if there are 6 lights or 9 lights. I just focus on seeing at least 6 candles. I won't open position here, because there are already 1, 2, 3. It's the fourth red candle. And there's no pullback. There are no green candles prior to this red candle. So this is not an entry candle. It's nothing. Unlike this one. This is a great, oh, shoop. This one, this red one, this one. This is my entry candle because it makes sense. I have a setup, pull back to the broken DVAL1 while the POC line is flat. So this might, this could have told me that there's the downtrend initiating. So this is my entry candle, and I use a very simple approach. I place stop loss above the candle and I target 2 to 1. I'm here, I'm closing here the position. That's it. This is the entire strategy. But as you can see, semaPHorek is just the part of that. It's not the strategy, it's just the trigger. I was going to have a tool which helps me analyzing consistently conditions at the footprint without reading all those 9 conditions. When you use the chart I was using before, like this, then you actually get tired, because this is indeed exhausting, reading all the candles while so many Renko candles are being printed. You won't last the entire hour. However, I do. Reading just numbers. I just wait for the number. All I pay attention, I can place another filter here, which filters out candles like this. Because the previous candle was red. And I'm doing it. However, I'm not doing it in the indicator per se. I'm doing it in my automations. It's easy to analyze and say what was the previous candle or what was the candle prior to the previous candle. I'm doing it in the automations, not in semaPHorek itself. Not my entry candle. This is not my entry candle because there was already this one. Not my entry candle here because there was just one green candle. And now attention, situation has changed here significantly, because we were breaking the lows. You see the lows? How the price broke the lows. Okay, this was just a liquidity sweep and they continued downwards. However, this swing high got broken. This swing low remained untouched. These swing lows remained untouched. There's a shift in structure. I mustn't open short positions here. I must open a long position here. A long position at this candle, because we have 1 red, 2 reds, and then we have semaPHorek immediately after those 2 red candles with 7 conditions met. 7 is okay for me. I'm okay with 7. And I open it up and I target 2 to 1. I don't care that the strategies say you can also trade something like this. When they break DVAL1, you trade the pullback and you open the position here. But what is this? What is this? There's the low, there's the higher low, and that is the idea behind my condition. Because if I'm here entering at this candle with this red body, and I want to see at least 2 candles prior to that, that means that this low was printed and this is the higher low. When I see, that's so obvious. When I see, imagine here, okay, there was a downtrend, there was the first green candle, the second green candle, and then there was this red candle, which means that we created new actually swing. So 2 candles are okay for low. Because this is the low of the swing. This can be a low of the swing. And I can open the position here. And I think they moved up. See, they moved up. And again, look at that. That's so obvious. What did I tell you? Structure. Look at that. We have highs here, which got broken. We have lows here that remained untouched. I'm talking about these lows. Look at that. Look at these lows. Unlike this one. Unlike this one. But this is a slightly... I would have opened a position here. I would. Even though they printed this candle and actually broke this low. Because it's just a liquidity sweep. Market isn't Swiss watch. You know, you need to actually think about that. If you don't want to think about that, if you want simple rules, strict rules, then it's easy. Then don't open long here. Don't open the long here. Open the long here. This is your entry candle, following all the rules, because they left the lows untouched, and you actually anticipate that this will be new high low, and they will continue the trend established here, right here, because they have been breaking through the highs, not through the lows. So this is your entry candle. Okay, this is not, no problem. No, you don't need to somehow think twice about that. Follow simple rules. GURT. And R is the structure. When you see the shift in structure, then you can trade. If I had to apply GURT here, what happened? With the, okay, this is declining VWAP, but not that strong. You see, and then the consolidation came. This is a flat VWAP. This happens sometime. And what happened? During a not very persuasive downtrend, they moved below DVAL2, which is an extreme, you know, and this is a GURT, this is the reason. They created a reversal, Umkehr, then they shift the structure, they broke high and created high low. This is a structure. So I'm waiting for the trigger, and this is my trigger. This is my trigger. 100% following the GURT rules. I need to come up with a better word. So this is my description. What is semaPHorek good for? I don't need to pay very special attention to footprints. I don't need to read the numbers. I don't need to know what absorptions mean. What is finished business? What is the high value of volume or delta? If there's not even smart tape running, I should have had smart tape at this chart to actually cover all the conditions semaPHorek's paying attention to. And so on and so on. This could have been my entry, yes, sure. And the stop loss, so what? It's happening. Not my entry, not my entry. I'm not going to open here long, short here, long here. I'm not going to open long here. Structure, they have been breaking lows and highs remained untouched. This is not my entry. I was going to say this is my entry candle for short, but it is not. We have just one counter trend candle here, only one green. If there were two green candles, this would have been a perfect short candle for the entry, because it respects trend and I trade the continuation. I want to see those small pullbacks where the big fish adding to add to the position. And that's it. That's all. semaPHorek simplifies that, make the chart cleaner, helps you with the consistency, because sometimes I know what's happening, because I was the same. I set my rule to 50, then I want to see absorptions at least 50, and imagine sometimes there were, I will not find it because I've been finding it on the fly, for instance here, this is not what I was going to talk about, but actually it is the example. Oh, it's minus 50, sorry. If that was 50, then I know what I was doing before semaPHorek. Oh, this is 50. This is at the edge of my threshold. My threshold was set to 50. It's actually in the body already, not in the wick. The wick was the condition. I was going to see absorptions in the wick only. This is 1 tick below. It's nothing special. I can accept it. I've been sitting here. I've been reading all the candles, all the numbers, paying attention to that. I'm already exhausted. I want to open my trade. I want to close my trade. I want to go home with my profit and so on and so on. I will open the trade here. I will do that. But it's not at the reversal. This is where the big fish is active, not here. And this is not a valid condition. If there was plus 50 at the first level of the body, not in the wick, then the condition is invalid. That makes you consistent. semaPHorek makes you consistent because it doesn't show you, oh, there are conditions, there are absorptions, but not in the wick, but in the body. No, condition wasn't met. Full stop. Period. That's it. So this is semaPHorek. And all you need to do is click here at this icon with these 3 lights and load the settings. You can either export the settings or load the settings. When you load the settings, I prepared some settings, such as for S&P, starting here from 1 minute here actually, EU means European session, up to, I don't know where it goes, here, up to Renko 12 US, which means Renko 12 American session, or I've been using here Renko 8, so you have Renko 8 US soft, Renko 8 US hard, softer conditions, which gave you more opportunities to enter, but the win rate is slightly lower, or you use this settings. US hard, you wait longer, but you get better entries, better signs of the fight, better battlefields identified. And I spoke about consistency, and this is what I would like to emphasize. Look at the dates of the files, date modified. Renko 8 US hard was modified in June 2025. Now we have April 2026. So 10 months ago, yeah, actually, we have the April the 10th, 2026. And I created this file, these particular settings, exactly 10 months ago. I don't change them. Either they fit, I trade, or they don't fit, and I don't trade. Market is every day different. So semaPHorek doesn't mean you will collect your profit each day. It's not that easy, but we know that. It's a trading, But semaPHorek helps significantly. Instead of paying attention to 9 conditions and being under pressure and facing the exhaustion after sitting, 10 or 15 minutes in front of the chart, I just pay attention to the numbers. And the setup files, these settings files, were created US soft June the 29th, 2025. So actually 9.5 months ago. I don't change them. I changed something a few days ago. Here, 900 tick. Somebody asked me for something and I slightly adjust this file. I remember that. I did that. And I was thinking about it. Shall I do it or not? And as you can see, otherwise, I can basically sort it by date. As you can see, then there is the FDAX file from December 2025, the MNQ Renko 18 European session from December 2025, so more than 4 months old. Then there's 1 minute US session from November and so on and so on. I don't change the settings because the settings work for me. It's really this simple. I load the settings, I place semaPHorek at the chart, I load the settings and I trade. That's it.